what's bad for your body is bad for your brain. What's bad for your brain is bad for your body, and vice versa. Sugar is bad for your brain. It's bad for your body. It increases inflammation, spikes insulin, causes all kinds of problems like diabetes, heart disease, cancer, increases your risk of many different types of illness. And as it's doing that, it's often referred to as type 3 diabetes for the brain. Oh, sorry. I've got an IV in my arm. I'm actually getting I'm getting an IV infusion right now, my vitamins, and I call those my superpowers. So sorry, I'm in the room right now doing that, but I want to address this because I posted something a couple days ago, and it's so fascinating to me. Anytime I post something about sugar, I get hate messages, like so many hate messages. I get messages, I get DMs, I get email on my website, it's comments, it's so funny. People are addicted to sugar, and they have this like religious attachment to it. It's so interesting. I will often have people make comments like, but Jesus ate bread. So the video I posted was about the hidden places, the places that sugar hide, right? So pasta, bread, rice, white potatoes, dried fruit, alcohol, all the things that quickly turn to sugar. And that's really all I said, was that these foods quickly turn to sugar. And what I found so interesting was the meaning that people attach to that. I made a simple comment. These foods quickly turn to sugar. They're high on the glycemic index. And then all of a sudden people attached like so many meanings to that. Now I get it, because food is emotional for a lot of people, and it's confusing. So it's not like I don't understand that. I actually wrote a book. It's my New York Times best-selling book called The Omni Diet, about 10 years ago or 11 years ago. And the reason I actually set out to do all that research, I did hundreds of hours of classes in metabolic medicine and did all that research, wasn't because I planned on writing a book. It was to heal my own body. I did that to heal myself because I had been sick. So then when I started implementing that, we started using it in our clinics, a lot of those principles in our clinics, and my husband wanted me to actually write a book, write a cookbook, and since I've written 8 cookbooks. So I wanted to address that and just like help people with some of these hidden untruths, if you will, or these myths about food. So some of these foods quickly turn to sugar. They're high on the glycemic index, and you should be aware of it. Now, what's interesting is people attached a lot of different things to this. And I just want to address some of the questions, because some of the comments and questions you made were actually very good. But when people say things like, but Jesus ate bread, Jesus didn't eat the same bread you all are eating today. Monsanto wasn't around. It wasn't full of pesticides or the 14 new proteins that are in bread because of GMO and all these other problems. They add gluten, they add sugar. There's all these new things that are in our food today. Along with the Industrial Revolution came an entirely new way that we adulterate our food. So there was a lot of good things that came along with the Industrial Revolution, right? We were able to feed more people way cheaper, but there were a lot of bad things that came along. Like our bodies were not at all ready or prepared or designed to consume some of the things we consume, like putting pesticides and hormones and all these different things that we put into our bodies. And it also, by the way, affects the environment, and those things are hurting us. So there's a lot of things that have changed over the years, just in the last 200 years, that have really caused problems for people's health. Increases in allergies, increases in autoimmune disorders, all these different problems. And those things are also affecting your brain. So that was one of the things. Not everyone is the same. So one of the things that I'm looking at, some of the questions you guys left, or comments. And so some of the people were commenting, because a lot of it has to do with you're commenting on your individual situation. So one of the things I wanted to say is that at Amen Clinics, we don't treat everyone the same. Everyone shouldn't be on the same diet. Everyone's not the same, and I totally understand that. So we will test your blood. We look for allergies. We want to know like what special considerations you have as an individual. So if you've got allergies, or you have, let's say you've got small bowel overgrowth, like he goes, I eat 90-10. Okay, so probably 90% of the time I eat according to like the food program that I created with the Omni diet and what we eat in our house. That's not all the time, right? There are times that I eat, we were driving home from a family trip recently. It was late at night. Everything was, I'm not kidding. We couldn't find anything. We drove a long ways, couldn't find anything to eat, really hungry, drove through somewhere, got in and out. It's like, okay, I don't feel bad about that. I don't do that all the time. It's not the space I live in, if that makes sense. So if 90% of the time you're eating really healthy, I don't feel guilty about it when I don't eat that way. I don't consider it a cheat day. It's just the 10%. Oh, well, I'm just making the comment. So when you're about to eat something and you're like, well, is this good or is it good or bad? It's like compared to what? All right. Some of the comments, one of them I wanted to address was about eating disorders, that they are tired of people making these comments about foods and making them good or bad, which by the way I didn't do. I was saying that these are high on the glycemic index. So for people who have autoimmune issues, diabetes, insulin resistance, you're sick for some reason, these are foods you should pay attention to. They're not going to make you feel good. They're not going to make you well. But the eating disorders comments was really interesting because I had an eating disorder. So as someone who suffered with an eating disorder, one of the things I found fascinating when I was doing, I'm a nurse and I did hundreds of hours of metabolic medicine. And I actually found it very empowering to understand this. Eating disorders are super complicated. Just like any other issue with mental health, they're not simple or single disorders. Many things cause them. We look at everything through the lens of 4 circles: biological, psychological, social, and spiritual. Okay, but on the physiological, the biological circle, there are hormones that we know now actually affect people with eating disorders. So everything you put on the end of your fork does matter, because as you affect hormones of satiety, what I mean by that is ghrelin, leptin, insulin, CCK, those are all hormones that tell your body that you are full and satisfied, or that you are still hungry even though you've eaten. Okay, so they have now found that people with, like, let's say bulimia or obesity that have compulsive, like they just compulsively eat, binge eating disorders, they have a tendency to have an imbalance in those hormones. So they will eat but not feel satisfied because they have an imbalance in those hormones. Or people with anorexia will eat like a bite of something and feel too full, if that makes sense. So understanding this can be really powerful. And those hormones and what the foods you eat that trigger those hormones not only affect that, they affect your mood. That's why I say everything you put on the end of your fork matters. It empowers you to know what you're eating can change your mood, can change the outcome of your mental health, actually. Depression, anxiety, all of these things. And that's why we use food as one of the pillars of treatment at Amen Clinics. So this is why I am no way saying, me of all people, know very personally that eating disorders are not single or simple, and I am not minimizing it or trying to make it simple. So I wanted to address that. Another question is, when I made the comment about rice, what about brown rice or wild rice? It's not that much different than white rice, maybe a little different, maybe a little bit better. And I'm not saying you should never eat rice. There are some people, like athletes, like police officers, like people who are burning a lot of energy. If you're super athletic, like sometimes, because I'm pretty athletic, I will eat a little bit of rice. What we usually say, what I say, and what I wrote in my book, The Omni Diet, and how we do it at Amen Clinics, if you are an athletic person, not overweight, not insulin resistant like that, about a half cup if you're a female, half cup, maybe a cup if you're a male, but not every day. So like a small amount with healthy fat and protein. So things like avocados, olive oil, nuts, seeds, and protein, but small amounts and not all the time. So less of it, if that makes sense. Just don't overdo it. The problem is in our society is it's upside down. People make grains and those types of foods their staple as opposed to their condiment. So I say make them your condiment, not your staple. Then it won't jack up your blood sugar so much. One person made the comment about potatoes. No, several people made the comment about potatoes. Oh, wow. You guys are really attached to potatoes. Just got to say. So potatoes. I want to say a couple things about potatoes. Potatoes, like all other things, don't affect everyone the same. Some of you eat potatoes and you don't have a problem with it. You're not insulin resistant. You don't feel bad when you eat them. Good for you. That's great. No problem. But what I want to say is potatoes are a nightshade. Not only are they very high on the glycemic index because they are a starch. They turn to sugar really fast. If you eat them with the skin on, it's a little better. But there's a few things about potatoes. They're a nightshade. Okay, they have something called solanine in them. It's the same thing that like morphine or quinine have. And for some people, this affects them very negatively. It can make them feel really bad. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, but there are some people who, and it's not the same for everyone. There are some people who it makes feel bad. So there are some people who should stay away from potatoes and eat sweet potatoes instead. They're not in the same family. And that's why we say sweet potatoes. Also, if you notice that oftentimes when you go to buy potatoes, there's this sort of slightly green tinge to the skin, stay away from it. Because it takes so long to get to the store, there's a slightly green tinge that can occur, or they start to bud. Those are potatoes you need to stay away from. That's a higher concentration of that solanine that I was just talking about. So they need to be fresh potatoes. Boiling is better than baking. So boiling is better than baking as far as the glycemic index. And someone made the comment that chilling, boil them first, so cook them first, chill them, and then reheat them. Absolutely true. For some reason, it makes the glycemic index a little bit better. So all of those things are what you need to know about potatoes. And for anyone else, just eat sweet potatoes and eat them with the skin on. But if you're going to eat them with the skin on, you need to absolutely have organic. Because the skin is where most of the pesticides are absorbed. It's in the skin. Now, if they are organic, having the skin, super high in fiber and high in vitamin C. So if you're going to do that, like a sweet potato with skin on is higher fiber than a bowl of oatmeal, and very high in vitamin C. So that covers potatoes. Oatmeal, same as rice. Make sure it doesn't have cross-pollination and it's like gluten-free. But if you eat small amounts of it, like if I'm doing an athletic event, I'll often have like a small amount of oatmeal because it gives me that extra little boost of energy, or recovery. And then someone made a super interesting comment, and I wanted to address it because it was very true. They said potatoes ground us. These types of carbs ground us and give us comfort. You couldn't be more correct, actually. It's just that we want you to focus on smart carbs, not carbs that actually jack up your blood sugar and are going to make you sick. There's a reason carbs ground you. There's a reason they make you feel comfortable, especially women during PMS. Okay, it's why you reach for chocolate and wine. Same reason. It boosts serotonin. That's why it makes you feel good. But make sure you're reaching for carbs that are good carbs that make you not sick. Okay, so if you're insulin resistant, reach for something that's got some fiber in it. Reach for something that is better for you in that sense. So that is the only thing I want to say about that. So what kinds of breads can you eat and what are some alternatives? I'm going to do a whole video on that because that's like a whole thing, is bread alternatives. I tend to do bread alternatives that are, I avoid gluten-free bread as like, I don't eat it as like all the time because it's loaded with starch. Once in a while I'll have a little gluten-free bread. Mostly I do things like coconut wraps or lettuce wraps, those types of bread alternatives. And I really like that because those are great. They're super high in fiber. The coconut wraps are. Someone made the comment, read labels. Absolutely read labels because there's so many hidden things. I'm doing a whole series on hidden food facts and you'll learn a lot. Let's see. There were so many comments that I wanted to cover, and you guys were amazing on the stuff that you brought up. I think that was most of what I was going to cover on this, but please keep them coming. You guys had some really amazing things to say. So I will keep doing these. Keep sending me your comments. But like I said, it's so fascinating to me. I took a little break from doing food facts and food stuff for a little while because people just get so upset. It's so fascinating to me. Rather than just learning about it and going, oh, that's interesting. And then figuring it out, like what works for you and what doesn't based on your body type. They just get so upset. So still want to, someone said, can we, yes, this live is going to post to my Instagram. So this video is going to post. And someone said they can't believe this education is free. Yes, absolutely. And I have, I know. Someone said when I listed the carbs, the things that quickly turn to sugar, bread, rice, pasta, potato, sugar, alcohol. Dried fruit. I didn't touch on dried fruit. So many of you love dried fruit, and they asked if dried fruit was bad because yes, it quickly turns to sugar. Why is it worse than regular fruit? Because it is concentrated. Okay, because it's concentrated. By the way, it's bad for your teeth too. It sticks to your teeth. Dentists hate dried fruit. The reason dried fruit is worse is because you're eating too much of it. If you eat a dried apricot, you don't eat one, you eat 10. Okay, if you're eating dried mango, you're eating like a whole bunch of it. And typically people eat sugared dried mango, right? Do you see the problem there? So you want all those like the live water that's like, you want that like really fresh stuff. If you're going to eat something, you want to eat something that is as fresh as possible, that has water. It's got, the dried fruit has fiber, but it doesn't have all the water and you end up eating too much. Same reason you don't want orange juice, because you removed it from its fiber source and you've got this concentrated sugar without the fiber source, and it takes like 8 oranges sometimes to make a big glass of orange juice. It's not good for you. Someone's commenting on my vitamins. This is really funny because I grew up with heroin addicts in my house and like tons of addicts, and I literally was terrified of needles, and here I am voluntarily getting like IV injections, but this is my superpowers. So there you go. Anyways, who would have known? So that's what I wanted to say about that. I'm going to do a whole series. Someone said, tell us what to eat. Yes, I'm going to tell you what to eat. Go back through my reels, not so much my reels and my IG lives. You're going to find all kinds of food, all kinds of recipes and ideas on what to eat. But go to my website, tanaamen.com. I have hundreds of recipes that are free for you guys. And then my books, The Omni Diet is all about food science. And Brain Warrior's Way Cookbook is my favorite cookbook for simple recipes. 125 recipes on, when people say that's everything in my house. Bread, rice, pasta, potatoes, gluten, soy, dairy, alcohol. They're like, but there's nothing left to eat. And I'm like, that's hilarious. But I understand. So I've written over 400 recipes on everything that we eat at our house that you can eat that does not have any of those things in them. And my favorite one is the Brain Warriors Way cookbook, because it's the simplest recipes. I wrote that one specifically for busy people on the go that you need to do things easy. And there's a lot of kid-friendly recipes and a lot of snacks. So, but if you just right now want to get started, go to my website, tanaamen.com. Lots of ideas on there. All right, you guys, I will catch up with you. I want to look at some of these. As soon as I get off of here, I'm going to lose all these comments, which really upsets me. So I'm going to really quickly, with you guys on here, just take a quick peek at some of the comments you made, and because you guys are great. Thank you. We love you too. And let's see. Keep smiling. Thank you. I will. Someone said the joy suits me. I appreciate you guys too. Oh, by the way, happy Good Friday. So I've got someone coming in. It's okay. The nurse has to come in here and make sure I'm alive. Someone said I stopped eating carbs because of the auto. Yes. 3 months. Okay. So someone said they're missing their periods because they stopped eating carbs. So you may be getting a little too low either in body fat or something like that. I would just talk to a functional medicine doctor. So maybe you're getting a little too low. Hi. Thank you. No worries. So you can talk to a functional medicine doctor and get that checked out. Let's see. Yes, we're saving the slide afterwards. Let's see. I'm going to tell you guys what to eat. Like I said, go to tanaamen.com. You're going to find all kinds of recipes, and I'm going to do more live chats. I just can't make this one 4 hours long, but we will be doing a whole series. I'm going to do a whole series on what you can eat. And let's see, what's the tube in my arm? That's my IV, my vitamins. Let's see. It's my superpowers. Let's see. Who else? Okay, I think I got all of you guys. Someone said very positive speaker. Thank you so much. And I love doing this. Someone said, does carbs include fruit? I do want to address that one. We want you to eat some fresh fruit. Fresh fruit is really healthy for you. But if you're insulin resistant, don't overdo it. So probably no more than like 1 piece a day, and berries are probably the best. Watch the glycemic index. So like I love my smoothie in the morning. I use berries, and I always add lots of fiber. Fruit has a lot of fiber, but I'll add some greens, and then I also add some fat, some healthy fat to it. So that's really a good way to do it. If you're not insulin resistant and you're athletic, yeah, you can have more, right? Does ketosis help ADD? I do really, really well on sort of a modified keto diet, but because I have ADD, and so yes, it really helps my focus, and I feel really good. If you have a super busy brain, like you're sort of OCD, then a keto diet can actually make you over-focus on things that make you over-focus, right? Like you can over-focus on the things that make you anxious. So you want to be really careful with that. So it's different for everybody. We don't believe one diet is good for everybody. Functional doctors. We have functional doctors at Amen Clinics. And if you are not near one of our clinics, you can also go on our website, and we have a list of doctors we refer to. Also A4M, the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, they have a list of functional medicine doctors as well. Yes, sleep. Someone said get sleep. Couldn't agree more. Yes, it's Easter. Yes, happy Easter and happy Good Friday. Happy Resurrection Day. All right, I think I got all of you. Love you guys, appreciate you guys, and hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Easter, and I will do more next week. Take care. Bye-bye.